Mate, I've married a beautiful, stoic lady from Slovakia who's a lawyer. She's gone through hard times over there, and she understands hard times, and she understands to be resilient. But that doesn't matter. Like, I come home, she just wants me to be present with the boys and the family, and I can't be, mate. I can't be. Like, one of the things that I have is, I keep the kids accountable and I keep myself accountable. I've got to make sure I walk on that pool deck in the afternoons and the mornings, and I have energy. So I get up an hour and 20 minutes before I go to the pool in the morning to make sure that I'm up. I cannot be one of those people, the alarm goes off for 20 minutes ago, I jump in the car and I go and I walk into the pool. I've got to be up and I've got to be ready. In the afternoon, it's the same. I have 1.5 hours sleep from around about 11:30 to 1 o'clock every day. I have to have it. I'm sick of people doing meetings during that time. It's ridiculous. I need to have my sleep, and I go into the pool deck to give my energy for the guys. And if I don't, I feel like I'm letting them down, I'm letting myself down, I'm letting Australia down, I'm letting St. Peter's down. And I've got to have that energy. But then that takes away from my family, because on Sunday I still have my sleep. I'm just dead. I'm not present with my family, and it's starting to cost. It's starting to cost my family a bit. And to be honest with you, Brett, I don't know. I don't have the solution yet to that problem. I've listened to Greg talk about him going to play golf, and he just needs that time. But I also listened to Greg, and I was envious of the way that he is with his family as well. He gives a lot back. Like, he's really manages it well. Well, I don't.
Greg Troy we're talking about, yeah.
No, Greg Mann.
Oh, Greg Mann. Oh.
Yeah. I've listened to his podcast and so forth. The way he manages, he's very good. Very good. I don't have that. I don't know if I'm going to have that. And that's really sad. I don't know. And that'll be the thing that will drive me out. That'll be the thing that will drive me out when I go, my athletes don't really care with what I'm doing.
Right.
And my family is now completely affected. I think that will be the driver.
How old are your boys?
It's hard, Brett. I don't know how you guys, I mean, maybe it was a bit of a cost for you. I don't know. But talking to a lot of coaches, it's extremely difficult. I mean, I hope that parents who are listening to this, and athletes in particular, you got to remember that your coach sees you more than your father or mother. They absolutely invest more. And I say this, and parents are listening going, oh, that's rubbish. Okay, I'll explain this to you. Most parents have a job, and they go to their job and they invest in their job. My job is to invest into your kids every day, every minute. When you're at work for 8 hours, you're thinking about sales or managerial procedures or better in the company. I'm not. I'm thinking about better in your kid. That's the difference. I'm not thinking about my child. I'm thinking about your child.
Man, I'm with you 100%. I was there. I've done this. I've been head coach of a major university where I'm in charge of 60 college kids. I'm in charge of 20 professional athletes, within that group. So we're talking about 80 swimmers. Then I'm in charge of coaches and staff of about 12 people. So we're talking almost 100 people that I'm responsible for ultimately. And I did 10 years of this, mate, where it was back to back to back, where it was, you go from the college season to the long course season, the world championships, the Olympic games, the Pan Packs. You do all this, and you go from that to that to that to that to that. And you invest so much into the kids, so much into the program for the program success. You're talking about St. Peter's right now. You're talking about your own athletes. You're investing all this time and energy into these things that are outside your family, and you're taking away from your family. And man, I'm a divorced father now, 2 years on, where I'm divorced, and it's very, very difficult to be, you know, I could sit here and tell you personal stories about how difficult it is in terms of the relationships that I didn't have with my own children, that I've had with, you know, other people's kids, because I've invested in them and their success and their glory, and taken away from the time and energy of my own kids. It's a very difficult balance, and I'm not sitting here telling you, you know, either way. I'm just saying that it's very difficult. And how old are your boys right now?
8 and 4. And Brett, I don't want to be disrespectful to you, and I like, because, you know, I know you well, but mate, I don't want to have that. I don't want to be divorced.
No.
I don't want to have that issues with my kids. But
I know.
But I just hope that people that are listening can understand the investment in energy and time and your creativity of the mind that goes into their child.
Right.
Their child. It's there must, like, you can't go home and go, I'm with my child and blah blah blah, because there's always a cost, right? There's an opposite effect. So you need to recover. And mate, that's
my mind was always going, mate. My mind was always going, and that was the biggest thing with my ex-wife, is like, you're not present. You're physically here, but you're not mentally here. I need you mentally.
100%. 100%. I'm on a break. I'm going to try and take 6 to 8 weeks. I can't yet let go, because I'm still dealing stuff with school. I'm still dealing stuff with a potential coach that something's happened on. I'm dealing with a couple of the athletes or whatever. I can't. I'm going, I've got to somehow just let this go and come back up. Like, I don't know how people do it. Like, I look at Greg, as I see Greg Meehan, and I go, wow, mate, phenomenal coach, and, you know, huge responsibility and expectation on his shoulders, being at Stanford and so forth. But he does it better. He does it way better than myself. And I don't have a solution to it. I don't have, I'll get rid of the solution. I don't even have a pathway. I don't know what to do.
Yeah.
And it's difficult, mate, because I think that will be the killer of me. That will be the one that makes me leave the game or stop or whatever. But you know, yeah, it's challenging, man. I just don't know. And if I really sat down now, if you and I really went down this pathway of this conversation, I probably think you and I would probably have a tear. We'd probably start crying. You know, it'd be, because it's that raw. It's that difficult.
It is, mate. It is. I certainly don't want you to look back in 10 years from now, when your son is 18 and 14, and have the type of regret that I do, mate. I really don't, you know. And so I want this to be part of the conversation of really analyzing, because we've analyzed a lot here, but I want this to be part of the analysis of understanding that your family.
Have you heard, like, you've had some amazing coaches on there, Bowley, Greg, you know, Greg Troy, you've had Greg, I think you've had Dave Durden, you've had a huge amount of Sergio, Bob. What have they said? Have you asked them? How do they do it?
Look, a lot of these guys I know personally, and you're right. It's a difficult balance for all of us. There's a lot of pressure for all of us. We're all competing. We're all challenged. We're all going from meet to meet to meet. You know, here's my advice that I can give you based on just my own experience. What I would say to you is that there is a time where you walk into the house and your wife and your kids want you and need you, and you have to find that time and energy. And sometimes what it would mean for me, and I wish I did this more, is just drive around the block 3 times, because I wasn't prepared to immediately go home yet.
Yeah.
And so if you immediately go home and you walk in and you just know that you're not ready, then they're gonna feel that too. And I wish I did this more, but I would drive around the block a few times and just prepare myself to be ready for my family. And my God, I wish I did that more, man. And I hope you do that. I hope
that is amazing. That's intelligent right there, and reflecting points. I'll give you an example. We've got this sort of concept between coaches that you go, you've got to make sure that you are living relatively close to work within 15 minutes, because otherwise it becomes quite challenging. You know, you drive back and forward.
Yep.
But I find if you're 10 minutes away, you don't get that opportunity to just drop, because you're normally making phone calls in the car.
Yep.
And then you walk in. But a couple of times I've gone to Chandler. For those people that don't understand where Chandler is, it's around about 40 minutes away from where I live. It's basically the head centre of Brisbane. And when I had that 40 minutes, I'm calling, I'm dissecting, I'm thinking it's over, and I walk in and I'm a little bit better. But I would hate that travel. I would hate that travel.
Yep.
I think it's that 20-minute window that you need.
Yeah.
You need 20 minutes. And when you get home, you need to sit down in front of the TV and watch reality TV, or Arnold Schwarzenegger and Terminator 2, smash up some people, or, you know, some action movie, Rambo. For 20 minutes, you just sort of look at there like a zombie, and then bang, you're right.
Yeah, I did that a few times, that's for sure.
Yeah,
but
you need that back. You know, you sit there and, how's your day, love? And they're like, oh, I'm not ready.
That's why I would drive around the block, because I knew as soon as I walked in, they would want me to be ready, and I wasn't. You know, at times
you have to be too. Like, it's wrong. It's wrong for me to walk out. I just can't. I don't know how to work it out yet.
Well, the other thing is the phone is such a you know, it just gets in the way of everything. So you know, my phone, we had to deal with recruiting. We had to deal with, you know, dealing with issues of different kids, and so I had to set boundaries. And look, I wish I did more of this in reflection. A lot of this is in reflection, and I'm telling you this because I don't want you to get to this point. What I had to do was set boundaries. I had to say, look, you've got me from 6 in the morning to 6 at night. I'm yours. You want to text me at 6:01 a.m.? Boom, I'm answering it. You want to text me at 5:59 p.m.? I'm answering it. But from 6 to 6, I'm yours. And then from 6 p.m. to 6 a.m., that's my family time. It has to be. It's got to be my family.
I struggle with that, Brett, because I'm on that sort of wavelength or philosophy of, like, let's say, for example, you know, Mitch is 28 years old, but Mitch calls me at 11:30, something's happened. I'll be there for you.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
I'll be there for you. If that phone goes and I look at it and it's Mitch, or Elijah, or Arnie, I'm just giving an example. It's 11:30. They need me. They need me. And I'm there.
And that's okay. That's okay in emergencies. They've got to understand that. If there's an emergency, I get it, and my wife gets it, my family gets it. There's emergency situations. But if that's going off 3 or 4 times a week at 11:30 at night, then there's got to be some boundaries, mate. That's where the boundary, and that's what you just got to explain to your kids is, I mean, your athletes is like, look, I'm yours for these 12 hours. Like, use me as much as you want. Come to me at midday and just give me everything. Let's have a meeting. But at 9 o'clock at night, 9:30 at night, my wife desperately needs me. This is when I've got to be there for her. I've got to be there for my sons. And if you're not putting those boundaries in, then it becomes so distorted that over time, I'm not talking within 6 months, I'm talking over a period of 5 to 6 years. This becomes very problematic for your family over an extended period of time. Very problematic. And this is where you're going to have problems, you know?
I understand what you're saying. I just don't have the answers, right? I know that my wife will listen to this probably in a week's time or whatever.
Put some boundaries in, mate. For her. If you put some boundaries in for your wife, she's going to love that. She's going to appreciate that. And then she knows when she's yours. She knows when she's yours. Like, your athletes know when you're theirs. Hey, from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m., I'm giving you everything of Dean. But at 9 o'clock at night, Dean is my wife's. This is my son's. My sons know that they can come to me at 8 o'clock at night, and I'm going to give them everything because I've given my athletes everything I've got. And then you've got to strike some balance in there to say, all right, I'm giving everything to my athletes, I'm giving everything to my family. I've got to have some downtime for Dean. You know, you got to allow some sort of like boundary. Like, I love UFC. I love the UFC.
Yeah, it's good.
there's about 4 hours of UFC fighting. And I just say, look, every week, just give me the 4 hours to watch UFC. Now, some guys go out and play golf. Other guys go out and, whatever it is. But if you just, if you build that in as well, then there's team time, there's family time, and then there's this down period for you where you can decompress. And then that provides balance. And balance is a strange word. We think balance needs to be 50-50. Balance is not a 50-50 thing. Balance could be 20-80. That could be balance. It could be 80% team, 20% family, or whatever. But balance is just striking a point where your family knows that you are theirs and your team knows that you are theirs. And then you have some downtime where you've got those 4 hours per week where that's my time as well. And if you start to build that in over a period of a few years, that's when you can get that balance that your family needs, your team needs, and they have a clear understanding then, mate.
I think with this conversation we've just been having the last 10 minutes, probably for the parents that are listening, please, if you can understand what I'm saying to you, your coaches are invested in your child.
For sure.
That they are invested. They are dreaming for your child when you're not. That is the most important thing. They are doing it for your children, not their own. So give them a break, support them, encourage them, give them a gift. On their birthday, give them a present. On Christmas, give them a present. Come into a session once a month and you're picking up their kids, give them a coffee, give them a slab of beer or one beer or a bottle of wine. Just something. You got to understand that they are going home and honestly thinking about your child.
Yep.
So please, parents, understand that.
Yeah, I'm with you on that, mate, for sure. But you have an agreement with Arnie, you have an agreement with Elijah, you have an agreement with your athletes, and they have a clear understanding, and they understand the agreement. But I'm telling you, and this is just advice, because I don't want you to end up where I ended up. Your wife wants the same agreement, mate. Your kids want the same agreement. They don't want you all the time, but when they have you for a certain amount of time, they want you. Mate, I can't tell you how many soccer matches I went to, and I was on the phone recruiting the whole time. Recruiting, mate. Recruiting someone else's kids. And most of the time, 90% of the time, those recruits I'm talking to, they didn't.
It's shocking. It's shocking when you think about it, isn't it?
Mate, I'm sitting there watching my daughter play soccer, and I'm recruiting someone else's kids who doesn't come to my program.
My son's playing tennis, and I'm trying to work out problems to do with another kid in a program. And then you're watching these beautiful parents watching the kids playing tennis, and they're just looking at them like, just going like, oh, beautiful. Look at my kid playing tennis. And I'm going, I'm not even there.
Yep. Not even there.
Not even there.
Yeah. Well, listen, mate, you've identified this problem. You can't now look back on this talk that we're having 3 years from now and say, I did nothing about it. It's your responsibility. I'm putting it on you right now in front of the whole world. I'm putting the responsibility on you to say, find balance. And again, balance is not a 50-50 thing. Balance is just being there when they need you to be there.
I will ask the coaches out there, whoever's listening, I'll ask to put in a message for myself and to other coaches out there, how to do it, give advice. You've given great advice, Hawkey, but I'm asking people to maybe give myself advice and other coaches out there that are in that same sort of mold. Like Dave Marsh, these guys, please message, and Ben Titley and so forth,
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I know plenty that have either been on the verge of everything falling apart and figuring it out, or you know what, it's all falling apart. Coaching is a very difficult gig, mate. It's a tough one.